exercises while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks. Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
This fall, Baumgars has everything you need to get your farm ready for the season. Stock up on livestock feed, deer corn, and pine shavings to keep your animals fed and your farm running smoothly. Need tools for your fall projects? Grab DeWalt power tools and grass seed to keep your fields in top shape before winter. From your barn to your backyard, Baumgars has you covered. Get ready for the season with everything you need to finish those fall fix-ups. Baumgars, field, farm, and fall fix-ups.
Are you looking to upgrade your equipment and keep cash in your pocket? Through October at Landmark Implement, get up to a 24-month waiver on select John Deere tractors and combines, or lock in a 2.9% fixed rate for 36 months, followed by a qualified standard rate for another 36 months. Whether you're thinking of this year's harvest or planning ahead, we've got a solution that works for your bottom line. Visit your local Landmark Implement for more details, or check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Schaefer's is celebrating its 79th anniversary with special rebates, financing, savings, and free delivery store-wide.
Update your home with innovative Samsung appliances and save up to an additional $900 with rebates. Samsung Innovation saves you energy and time with easy-to-connect appliance technology. Plus, during Schaefer's anniversary, get free delivery on your appliance purchase.
So hurry in during Schaefer's 79th anniversary event, going on now.
This is your year, where your team takes it all the way. Win way more than bragging rights at Warhorse Casino, where your love of the game could put $1 million in your pocket. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with prizes all season long. Weekly cash prizes up to $1,000 cash, season-long leaderboards, and a chance to win $1 million. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in seasons? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Nebraska farmers, harvest is here and every gallon counts. That's why Sapp Brothers Petroleum launched the Go Big Red Fuel Giveaway. When you contract your fuel with Sapp Brothers, enter to win $1,000 in fuel credits. As Husker Country knows, the only thing stronger than the roar at Memorial Stadium is the drive of a farmer putting food on the table. Fuel your farm with Sapp Brothers Petroleum and enter to win $1,000 in fuel credits. Visit sapbros.net today. Sapp Brothers Petroleum, fueling the heartland. Go Big Red.
If the power is out, traffic lights might be too. If you come across a dark intersection, treat it like a four-way stop. See more tips at les.com/safety.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
It's been a busy day in sports. A lot has happened while you were up to your eyeballs in work. Catch up on what went down in Nebraska athletics, college sports, and your favorite pro sports leagues. This is Late Night in Lincoln live on 93.7 The Ticket, sponsored by Canopy Street Market. Here are your hosts, Harrison Arens and Derek Pearson.
All right, welcome back in. Big weeknights, Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. October 30th, one day away from Halloween. Halloween tomorrow, and we got an active crowd out there at 1040 O Street. I'll put the camera up temporarily. Let you guys see the costumes that are walking around downtown tonight. But if you're joining in, appreciate it. We're going to go, as we did similar to yesterday, recapping what has been another full day of sports here. And then I definitely do want to just dive into Nebraska versus USC this weekend. Talked about it with Chris Raff. But this is obviously a huge game for Nebraska. Matt Rule's record versus ranked opponents, 2-22. Nebraska's losing streak to ranked top 25 opponents, 0-28. One of the worst ones you can find out there, especially when you're looking at Power 4 programs. But nonetheless, you got a bad ranked opponent streak with Matt Rule individually, and then Nebraska's streak versus ranked opponents even worse. Matt Rule hasn't even played 28 ranked opponents, and Nebraska's 0-28 in that fashion. We had a chance versus Michigan a lot earlier in the year. Now you get another chance versus USC. Again, the Michigan game set up beautifully, right? You had Michigan playing Lincoln at home. Nebraska was still undefeated at that point in time. It felt like a year where Michigan was a little bit down. Bryce Underwood, he's fine, but he is a true freshman. He did some damage with his legs. Not a whole lot through the year. Their wide receivers weren't that great. It was really the run game that we had to worry about, and it actually became the QB run game that became the biggest problem and a little bit of a trend for Nebraska. But, there's also a game. Sharon Moore isn't there. Michigan is without their head coach. They got an interim setting in. You're at home. You have the home crowd environment that everyone's still thinking undefeated maybe because at that point in time, you know how it goes. Hopes were high for Matt Rule in year 3. You didn't win. You dropped that one 30-27. And, I'm not going to call it lucky with the Hail Mary. I mean, you went and got that. There's nothing lucky about being the guy to go out in the air and get that over everybody else. You earned that one. Even if it was, a long shot, you earned the play. But without that, I mean, you're looking at a 30-20 game at home when Michigan doesn't have their head coach on a Michigan team that hasn't looked overly impressive. USC beat Michigan earlier in the year, 31-13, I believe was the final score. So you don't want to do the comparisons too much, but my point is simply saying that this is a good USC team, I think rightly ranked USC team versus the Nebraska team whose streak is at 0-28. Matt Rule's streak is 2-22 when it comes to playing ranked opponents. No one wants to keep talking about those numbers. We can stop talking about those numbers if you win the ball game. And I was telling Raph this, despite everything I just said, I don't think this is a must win for Nebraska. Now, it's a must win if you want to keep your college football playoff hopes alive, even if it's a small hope right now. It is a possible hope. If you lose this game, then there's no shot. But more in terms of Matt Rule just got this fat extension. I shouldn't even say fat. It's a good extension, though. A lot of it sounds like it's geared towards him having some extra funds for the portal. And I don't know if there's anything for the assistant coaches pool. If that went up, I'd imagine it would a little bit to keep guys like Mike Eckler around, Dana Holgorsen around. John Butler will grade him at the end of the year. It is a younger defense, so I don't want to beat him up too much on that. And then some of the position coaches, it's another conversation in itself. Obviously, Donovan Raiola, the longest holdover. That offensive line has got to start looking better. You can't be the position group that has the most starts across the board and also is the most dysfunctional. I know he knows that. You got to see results there. And against USC, if it turns into a shootout, we're not going to look good if we got Dylan Raiola getting sacked more than 4 times. The correct number is do not allow Dylan Raiola to be sacked at all. Because it's been that bad, just less than 4 or less. I will accept 4 or less, because at that number, you're certainly giving up some big plays, but you're not guaranteeing a loss. You start getting past 4 sacks, we're talking about a long night on offense, because you're putting your team in the hole. And with USC's offense, they're explosive. This is the number one offense if you're looking at points per game heading to Lincoln Memorial Stadium this weekend. And they're coming off a bye. So they've had a lot of time to look at how do we want to attack Nebraska's defense, which is a little bit irregular when looking at the rest of the Big Ten. Has its pros, has its weaknesses. And on the bright side, one of the pros is we seem to do a lot better in pass protection. One of the cons is we've really struggled getting pressure. I mean, it's been a year-long problem for us. We've had some guys have some moments. If Shavers, he's had some great moments coming off a blitz or, just coming downhill, reading run, end up being passed, but still finding a way to finish the play. When Nary's been good off the edge, we got to have some other guys really start stepping up, whether it's Lenhart, whether it's, I don't really care who it is. I mean, you just pick a player. We got to have more pressure from that front. And Mavi is similar to Dylan Raiola, to where if you give him time, he will take what's in front of him. And the best way I can describe it, go look at the Cincinnati game with Dylan Raiola. Oddly enough, I thought game 1 was the best pass protection we saw all year, and it got a lot worse as the season's gone along here. It peaked with Minnesota. I mean, 9 sacks is inexcusable. That was the worst it's looked. And that was more than just the offensive line, but if you give up 9, offensive line's obviously a big part of that. And then it got a lot better versus Northwestern. If we're comparing it to 9 sacks, it's got to look closer to what it did versus Cincinnati. Dylan Raiola can be really efficient, accurate, and, avoid the turnovers if you keep his jersey clean. And I think that's been the problem for Nebraska, is not only have we been unable to protect the quarterback, part of being unable to protect Dylan Raiola has been our predictability. Too many possessions where, I don't think easy answer to get the support of Husker fans. I don't think we run the ball enough, or at least run it consistently enough, or mix it in consistently enough. I'm not saying Emma Johnson needs to have 40, 30 carries. I'm saying Johnson needs to have 20 carries and consistently mixed in within the offense. I don't ever want to see a series unless we have something really good or we see something out there, and Dana Holgerson would know more than I do, of course, where he sees a huge matchup opportunity or we can expose them. I'm tired of seeing three throws, 3 plays and out. It becomes predictable when you got Dylan Raiola sitting there at 3rd and long. And we've had a lot of scenarios where it's not 3rd and short, it's 3rd and long. And that's when Dylan Raiola looks like not a 5-star, because he's got pressure coming at him. The easy answer is throw towards the blitz. But if we're not setting up the run, they got extra guys in coverage waiting for that. You got to give them a little bit of time. And when you have these 3rd and long situations, time is hard to ask for. You need everyone to execute at a very high level to get that time, because ears are going to be peeled back. They're going to be sending pressure because it's an obvious passing down. And that's where you see the Dylan Raiola interceptions creep up to 1, 2, and I don't know if he had a 3 interception game this year, but certainly he had a 2 interception game. And a lot of that's just time in the pocket, not there. He feels rushed. He makes a rush throw and it's inaccurate, or it's just the wrong guy and he's throwing right at a defender. If we can't protect Dylan Raiola and USC starts scoring, I mean, that you get into that shootout territory where Nebraska has no chance of competing, especially if we have to be in that shootout game with them and they're allowed to peel their ears back and we're struggling to keep Dylan Raiola up on his feet. So that's what I mean by mix in Emmett Johnson. Now, I'm not saying you got to turn around and hand to him. Dylan Raiola is way too good to just be a pure run team. But at the same time, J.J. McCarthy's an NFL talent. Go look at how they used him at Michigan. We don't have to be Michigan, but there is a rhyme and reason they ran the ball as often than they did, despite having an NFL talent at QB. Because J.J. McCarthy was comfortable. He never had too many moments where he had to force the issue. And when they chose to be aggressive, it was hard to predict. So a lot of those throws were easy for McCarthy, where he knew, maybe the safeties are sucking in. I'm going to have a deep shot there. And it also helps behind that Michigan line. pass protection was a lot easier to come by. So he was also having a much better pocket to throw in. But a lot of it does fall on the unpredictability of Michigan, where you knew they were going to run. It was, when are you going to throw? Because especially with McCarthy, when they had them, they haven't really had it so far with Underwood, but with McCarthy, they start getting to that 40-yard territory. That's take a shot play territory. And with Michigan, you almost have to sell out for the run because they're so effective at it. But McCarthy would have a lot of success, even if it wasn't a huge throw over the top, catching those guys in those opportunities on a first down where they were getting used to Michigan running the ball all day long. Even though they know Michigan's in take a shot territory, you got to respect the run game. And McCarthy, he's accurate and good enough to make those throws. We'll see if he can do it in a Vikings uniform. But at Michigan, it certainly was the case, and they go win a championship. That's kind of how I envision Nebraska having to be, because the pass protection isn't good enough. If we want to be a pure passing team, we just don't have the line to do it. We're getting way too much pressure. Feed Emmett Johnson, let him get going, make them really respect that run. Then the play action starts looking a little bit cleaner. They have to really start buying in. Okay, Emmett Johnson is a threat. He's already got 800 plus yards on the year. He's first in the Big Ten. You want these guys to be focusing on stopping Emmett and then Dylan Raiola second. And I think the problem is they've been focused on stopping Dylan Raiola because we haven't really committed to Emmett Johnson. And it doesn't have to be direct carries. Again, it can be an extension of the run game. I don't care if you're throwing it to him on the outside, if you're setting up screens for him, if you got him in motion and then throwing him a quick dump pass. I don't really care what it looks like. I should clarify Emmett Johnson touches. You got to give him 20 plus touches, because especially versus USC, what beats USC is physicality. Illinois beat him with physicality. Michigan lost, but when they were physical, they failed to convert in some of those red zone opportunities, and then it became a shootout. Michigan's not the type of team that can really survive a shootout, and that's what happened until you got to that score line. It became a shootout. Michigan could not keep up. They lose 31-13. I believe the final score of that one. But that's how they lost to Notre Dame. When talking USC here. So you lose to Illinois and you lose to Notre Dame because you did not have the physicality needed to survive 4 quarters in those games. That's why this is not a give the ball to Emmett Johnson because he's one of our better players. It's also, he's going to be the enforcer of if this USC defense is up for the task, which they weren't in Illinois and they weren't for Notre Dame. They were for a few drives. They were for a few series, but as they kept getting leaned on as the game went on, the most obvious thing with the run game, if you do it the right way, it turns into 2, 5, 10, 15, and you might, pop one to the house for 50, 40 plus yards. That is the threat of the run game, is it leans on you over the course of time. And that's what Notre Dame and Illinois were able to do, is really make USC uncomfortable. USC wants to play fast. They want to be explosive. You run the ball, you eat up clock. You got them. Also, going to be a cold game. Keep USC. I think the day they leave, it's supposed to be like 80 degrees in California for them. By the time they land in Nebraska, it'll be above 40. By the time it kicks off, it will be around 40 degrees and then just keep dropping from there. If we're lucky, we'll get a wet, kind of misty game too. I think most Nebraska fans would hope this is a colder game because it goes to our favor, but only if you're able to live up to the physicality. If you're not going to be physical, then the cold weather doesn't really matter. If you're going to play the shootout game with USC, even if it's cold, that still favors USC if we get to shootout territory. So that's, again, I keep circling Emmett, but it's not just because he's a good player. It's who you're facing. USC, the games they lose are teams that like to physically just pound on them to the 4 quarters. That's how you have to attack USC. That's when they look their worst, and that's what's proven to be true with their 2 losses. Mavia's too good to give him time and let him be comfortable. The defense is a big question. I can figure out a way for this offense to scheme up a way to beat USC from the couch. Let me be clear. This is all from the couch. I don't have the information that, Matt Rule, Dana Holgerson, John Butler have. But I can figure out ways in my head how this offense figures out a way to really beat up on USC and take advantage of their style of defense. Offensively, defensively for Nebraska, I get a little bit worried because it's obvious you have to get pressure on Mavia. And I know I kind of went down that rabbit hole already, but we got the second best passing defense in the entire country. You like the guy. Sierra Wright's going to have a challenge with Lemon, but you like his odds of being able to slow him down enough. You have some great safeties. You got some great corners out there. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of concerns about the secondary. The only time we have concerns is if we aren't getting pressure. And that's with the defense. The way I see us scheming up on defense is you have to get pressure. And it's really simple, but that's the whole game right there. If we aren't able to do it, then we have to lean on the offense being really explosive, or Emmett Johnson and Dylan Rail both having a really good day, where we can run the ball, milk clock, and even if USC's having a ton of success on offense, making sure that if they do get a scoring drive, they got to wait 6, 7, 9 minutes before they get another opportunity. But that's going to require Nebraska to be successful early in the game and start fast. We can do the Emmett Johnson bit where we're physical and we're beating up on them if we produce when we get into the red zone with that style of ball, and also if you're stopping USC. Because if we try that, brand of football and it doesn't work, and it's, a 2-minute drive and we can't get it done and we got to punt, USC scores, they score quickly 7-0. Okay. You still like the idea of running the ball, right? You don't want to just drop what your game plan is, but say it doesn't go well again and USC gets the ball, it's 14-0. Okay, now we're even if it's early in the game, the running the ball stuff is becoming a problem because we're falling down a hole. Even if we get some success with the run game, if this takes 6, 7, 8 minutes and, USC scoring on us on the blink of an eye and it's, 7, 14, 21, then Nebraska's out of sorts. And again, I think it leans to USC's favor. The spread is still 6.5, favored for USC. They have struggled on the road. One thing to note when sizing these guys up is the road has not been their friend. The weather, we'll see if it plays a major factor. You think it would a certain degree in favor of Nebraska. But again, I'm really hoping for, just kind of some moisture in the air, say it lightly. We've kind of had it over the weeks where it hasn't been raining, but it feels like a cloud's been sitting right at ground level. I hope it's cold. I hope it's wet. That's the kind of game I'm hoping for, to throw USC off a little bit. But again, them coming off a bye, I think they're going to be ready. You can't prepare for the weather, but you can't prepare on the X's and O's. So maybe you need a special teams in play in there if you are Nebraska, but you certainly can't have Dylan Raiola being sacked for more than 4 times. I'll give you 4 because I think it's just unfortunately how bad it's been in that department. Anything more than that feels like it's a lost cause. You have to run the ball with Emmett Johnson, and you have to do it consistently, not back to back to back, 30 times in a row, but mix it in there consistently through the game to where you have USC guessing. And then again, you have to get pressure on Mavia. You keep pressure away from Dylan. This seemed like the most obvious game plans, but when you're looking at an explosive USC team, it's pretty obvious. You have to get Mavia out of sorts. Otherwise he will beat you. He's too good. And then on offense, you have to protect Dylan Raiola because he's looked his worst under duress and he's looked his best when given a clean pocket. And strangely enough, some quarterbacks actually work a little bit better when they're in their chaos mode. The Johnny Manziels, the Caleb Williams, the even Milroe for Alabama. Like some of these QBs, when things start falling apart, you saw it with Underwood this year. When things were falling apart, those guys actually look their best. Mavia is the type of guy that when it seems he can scramble and hurt you with his legs, but he's a hell of a lot more dangerous if he's got a clean pocket. He's a great athlete, but even just a better football player. So I'd rather take my chances with his legs, knowing that he still might be able to move the chains a few times with that, than I would him throwing the ball down the field, because he's a lot more deadly with his arm. Unlike a guy like Childs at Michigan State, who I was more scared of him running than I was throwing. Same thing with Underwood. More scared of Underwood running than throwing. Mavia, I respect both the run game that he has and the passing game, but he's a lot more scary to me if he's got a clean pocket than if he's on the outside with a little bit of green space in front of him. With that being said, we'll throw it to break. That's my wrap up on Husker football USC. We'll talk more about that Saturday throughout the pregame show, but I want to give you updates just across the sports world on the other segments 2 and 3. So don't go anywhere. We still got NFL in the brick and mortar, but streaming right here, 93.7 The Ticket.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle. It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Get geared up for savings like you've never seen before during Elway Days. Their biggest sale of the year runs October 14th through the 18th when every red tagged machine is priced at invoice plus $300. That's it. No freight, no setup, no extra fees. Don't miss out on these epic savings. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at the 27th and I-80 location.
Imagine hitting rewind on your life 10, even 20 years. With testosterone therapy from Limitless Male, you can turn back the aging clock and get your edge, energy, and confidence back. If you've lost your drive, sleep deprived, muscle loss, belly fat, irritable, you're not the guy you once were. Get your T levels checked at Limitless Male. More and more men are realizing hormone replacement can turn back the clock. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
0 after every Nebraska football game. There's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance. In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
There's no better way to spark a child's imagination than to get lost in the adventure of a good book. I'm Jenny Benson, president of NSEA. Working together, parents and teachers can help every child succeed. You can help by reading to your child and let your child read to you. Encourage reading in your home and make it a priority. Make reading fun and a time that you and your child look forward to spending together.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association on this station.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
The Nebraska State Veterans Homes are here to serve veterans, their spouses, surviving spouses, and Gold Star parents. Join your fellow veterans and their families at one of our homes in Bellevue, Kearney, Norfolk, or Scottsbluff. With a sliding scale to determine your financial contribution, an excellent clinical team, and plenty of fun activities, our homes are the perfect retirement choice. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/homes. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to Late Night in Lincoln live on 93.7 The Ticket. Here are your hosts, Harrison Arens and Derek Pearson.
All right, welcome back in Tick Weeknights. If you're hearing my voice, that's because the NFL wrapped up, and it was not a barn burner, so don't worry, you didn't miss too much. 28-6, the Lamar Jackson, he's back. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens win over the Miami Dolphins. Good timing for the Baltimore Ravens. They were able to pull off a much-needed win last week versus my very own Chicago Bears, and they did so without Lamar Jackson. Tyler Huntley actually was the starting quarterback in that game. And to get that win, to put him at 2-5, really set the table for this Lamar Jackson-led Ravens team. Well, really just the Ravens as a whole. Give my credit to Huntley for winning that game versus the Bears to keep this playoff season alive. I mean, it's one thing being 1-5. 2-5 is a little bit better. 3-5, now you're only 2 games below 500. You feel like you have an opportunity to rattle off some wins here and get right back into contention, especially you had a slow start. Well, actually, let me just take a peek at the standings here for everybody that they would likely have to compete with. So looking at the Ravens right now, I mean, 2-5 with this win right here, you go to 3-5. And the Bengals are still without Joe Burrow. The Browns, I don't think anyone's really worried about. And the Steelers are sitting there at 4-3, and they just took a tough loss to the Packers. So sitting there at 3-5 really is not too bad, especially within the AFC North. I do not think the Steelers team is electric to the point to where they're going to get well above 500. I think about at or above 500 is where they are. I think 4-3 is going to be pretty close to what the record ends up being at the end of the year in regards to how close to 500 this team is. So within their own division, the Ravens are sitting pretty. It's not great. But now with Lamar Jackson, pretty much the entire team's back healthy as well. And I think that's another important point to make. It wasn't just Lamar Jackson. It was a lot on that defense as well. So that team's fully healthy, and they looked like that versus the Dolphins. And a big win, 28-6. And Lamar Jackson in that game, he was 18 for 23, 204 yards, 4 touchdowns. He looked great in his return. Only 5 incompletions. And like I said, 4 total touchdowns with a whopping 204 yards. Tua, on the other hand, kind of regurgitated back to what he was 2 weeks ago. Last week was great. You were like, maybe Tua's all right. This week you went back to bad Tua. 25 for 40, 261 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. Derrick Henry finally had a pretty good game. No touchdowns, but he did break out for over 100 yards, 19 carries, 119 yards on the ground. Devon Achane for the Miami Dolphins, 14 carries for 67 yards. Leading receivers was Zay Flowers on the Ravens, 5 receptions for 64 yards. And then Jalen Waddle of the Miami Dolphins, 6 receptions for 82 yards. I don't think a lot of people are expecting Miami to do anything. I think Ravens fans were eager to see what will Lamar Jackson look like on his return into their luck. Like I said, only 5 incompletions, 4 total touchdowns, no interceptions. That is exactly what you want to see. Regardless of whether you think the Miami Dolphins are that bad or good, if you think they're that bad, then he still did exactly what he needed to do, which was dominate them. That was obviously the only game going on right now, Thursday Night Football. Other games of note that could be really interesting, and we'll quick highlight what's coming up ahead here in the NFL before we go over to the NBA. Not a lot of great ones. I'll be honest. I'm looking through it right now. Colts, Steelers. Again, Steelers is a good defense. Can anybody stop the Colts is the question. Jonathan Taylor's been an absolute menace all year. Last week, he had a 80-yard to the house run. He had, I think, an 18-yard receiving touchdown. He's doing everything right now. And we saw Daniel Jones when he had Barkley over on the Giants. He can make that work in a beautiful way. When he can add a running back he can lean on, and it becomes a run-first team, Jones has always been an actually pretty solid deep ball passer. And I think that's where you're seeing a lot of the Colts' success is they are just running the ball at will, making teams really having to start having those safeties get up more and more and more because, again, you're giving up huge runs to Jonathan Taylor. He's been unstoppable. Jones is solid on the deep ball. He can sit back there, and if guys open, he does a really good job of putting it where it needs to be. And I think you're just seeing a ton of success with that simple recipe of running the ball heavily with Jonathan Taylor and then taking shots up deep. And Jones has been known to hit those at a pretty good clip. So that could be an interesting one. Again, I think you just want to see, can the Steelers defense stop the Colts? I don't think they can. I think the Colts get another win right there. Patriots, Falcons, maybe not the most interesting game, but the Drake May story has been very intriguing. Boy, there's not a lot of great ones. I was going to save this one, looking for other ones. You got Seahawks versus Commanders, could be interesting. Cardinals, Cowboys, Broncos, Texans. I mean, none of these really. Vikings, Lions. There you go. I did miss that one. That'll be a good game. Giants, 49ers again without Cam Scatterboo. I don't know what that team's going to look like. The big game, though, Sunday, 3:25, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills. This has not been the ideal year for either team. You're looking at the Chicago Bills. You're looking at the Buffalo Bills sitting there under the Patriots. 5-2, not a bad record. But again, even if you were to get to 6-2, the tiebreakers versus the Patriots, and you guys lost. So they're actually sitting in second place. Even if they had 6 wins, they lose the tiebreaker in that one. So still sitting solid. You're not panicking by any means. But then you go look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They're sitting there at 5-3. They're starting to turn on the Jets. They started out the year, if everybody and NFL fans probably know, at 2-3. They've done this, blanking on what year it was, but not too long ago. They were in 2-3, and that was the year they made it all the way to the Super Bowl and made a Super Bowl run. It kind of feels like this year for the Chiefs. Started off sloppy, didn't look great. A lot of criticism on Travis Kelce because he was dropping balls, and he's actually, still had some key drops. I don't know what the full Kelce issue is, but he's had a lot more drop balls than anticipated this year on some key moments. But now they're sitting there at 5-3. So you got a Bills team with 6 wins, with a couple tough losses, and you got a Chiefs team with some tough losses early in the year. But now that is, 3 straight for the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Bills just got the 1 straight. Bills getting back right. It started with them, a surprising loss to the Patriots, like I said. Then they followed up with a loss to the Falcons. It's not a great Falcons team, which was surprising, but they got right versus the Panthers with a huge 40-9 victory. But again, looking at the Falcons, I mean, they lost to the Dolphins 34-10. That's the same Falcons team that really took it to the Buffalo Bills. So a strange couple of games in a row. Felt like the Patriots game took the confidence out of them, and then the Falcons really just capitalized that and won in a pretty dominant fashion just to go lose to the Miami Dolphins a couple weeks later. So surprising results in the NFL. Over in the NBA, that's all I got. Again, your Baltimore Ravens win 28-6 over the Miami Dolphins. That game was in Miami. Ravens go to 3-5. Dolphins take another loss, sitting there at 2-7. Over to the NBA, though, like I mentioned, you only had 4 games in today's October 30th slate. You had the Orlando Magic facing off against the Charlotte Hornets. Hornets 2-3, the Magic 2-4 after the result of that one. Magic win it 123-107 over the Hornets. Leading scores in that one, really just good collective effort by the Magic. Banchero, he gives you 20. Wagner gives you 21. You get Wendell Carter Jr., he gives you 18. Anthony Black in 31 minutes of play, he gives you 20. And then Silva, once again, 19 points in 22 minutes of play. He's been really good for them so far. Over on the Hornets side, not a lot going on. LaMelo Ball, he had a double-double, 7 rebounds, 13 assists, 17 points. I say it all the time. It's a pity that he's on that team. He is such a fun player to watch, and you guys can take a swing on how many Hornets games are nationally televised this year. I think it's 2. I think it's 2 nationally televised games. I could be wrong, but if it's more than 2, I promise you it's not by very much. And that's what I mean with LaMelo Ball. He is a really fun, exciting player to watch. Nobody really gets to see him play, though, unless you got a league pass or a specific team pass. Then sure, you can watch him plenty. Wizards, they lose to the OKC Thunder. Thunder win at 127-108. Thunder continue their perfect run. They are 6-0 to start the NBA season, and it started off with a flurry. Opening night was versus the Rockets on ring ceremony night. That one went in overtime. And then they had the Pacers up after. That one went in overtime. And now it's steadied a little bit. They're winning pretty comfortably. Like I said, they win at 127-108 over the Wizards. Wizards dropped to 1-4. Leading scores and for the Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, no surprise, 31 points, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds. Mitchell off the bench. AJ Mitchell off the bench gives you 20, and Isaiah Joe off the bench gives you 20. Those were the next 2 leading scorers. Was 2 players off the bench, one giving you 30 of Mitchell, and then Isaiah Joe giving you 24 minutes off the bench, but both 40 points just between those 2 guys right there is huge. The rest of the supporting cast in that starting group with the Thunder really didn't do a whole lot. They had some good production off the bench that helped them get to that victory. Warriors, they lost to the Bucks earlier tonight. Golden State Warriors 4-2. Lose 110 to the Milwaukee Bucks at 120. Bucks sitting at 4-1. Like I said, 10-point victory for the Bucks. Leading scores, pretty spread performance. Ryan Rollins gives you 32. AJ Green 10. Miles Turner, you get 17. You get 10 out of Kyle Kuzma. Gary Trent Jr. gives you 13. Bobby Portis off the bench, he gives you 12. And you get 16 from Cole Anthony off the bench as well. So just another good overall productive performance across the board with Ryan Rollins leading the group. Warriors, pretty spread effort. Steph Curry had 27. Jimmy Butler with 23. Kuminga with 24. Not a lot of help anywhere else, though. So you had 3 players pretty solid. Nobody else put a whole lot in there. For productions, like I said, Warriors lose 110-120 versus the Bucks. This game got over not too long ago. San Antonio Spurs, they're 5-0. Might be happening a little too quickly for people's comfort, especially out in the Western Conference. Let's go see what everyone's favorite player, Victor Wembanyama, did tonight. 18 rebounds, 6 assists, 27 points. This guy's unreal. Stephon Castle had 21 for the Spurs as well. Vassell had 17 for them, and that is about of note. Over on the Miami Heat, Andrew Wiggins gave you 24. Bam Adebayo gave you 31. Nothing of else to really note there. But the Spurs being 5-0 is scary. And especially, let's just have fun. Let's take a look at Victor Wembanyama and look at the horrors that this man's been doing. So far, to start off the year, he had that 40-point game where, again, he had 40 points. How many blocks? 3 blocks, 15 rebounds. So a 15 rebounds, 40-point game. He only had 1 assist, 3 blocks. Game 2, he gives you 29 points, 11 rebounds, 9 blocks in that game versus the Pelicans. He almost had a triple-double on blocks, rebounds, and points. 9 blocks is insane. And by the way, he has 0 turnovers in both of those games. He had 29 points. He's shooting the clip at just a ridiculous rate. Insane. Game number 3, 31 points, 3 steals, 6 blocks, 4 assists, 14 rebounds. So a 14-31 double-double, and then he had 6 blocks and 3 steals to go along with it. All right. Toronto, Monday, this was on the 27th, not too long ago. 24 points, only 1 steal, only 1 block, 15 rebounds, 4 assists. That's a bad game for Victor Wembanyama. A bad game for Victor Wembanyama is 24 points and 15 rebounds. That's probably like the best anybody can do so far, and allowing 1 block and 1 steal. Which, by the way, they've won all these games as I'm giving out these stats. And then I just said it in the last game, 27 points, 18 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 blocks in that one, 1 steal. So just by blocks, in the first game, he had 3 blocks. In the second game, he had 9 blocks. Then he had 6 blocks, only 1 versus Toronto, and then back up to 5 versus the Miami Heat. I'm looking up block leaders in the NBA because we're going to do a little bit of estimation on how quick is Victor Wembanyama going to get up there. The leading block leader is Hakeem Olajuwon with 3,830. And Victor Wembanyama's blocks last year, if we just look at last year, he had 176 blocks in 46 games. That is 3.8 blocks per game in the season. That's unreal. And this year, it's only going to go up. He'll be well above 3.8 if he keeps up the numbers he's going. He'll be able to get that record in no time. I mean, that's a lofty number. Don't get me wrong. But if he stays healthy, that's totally obtainable. 82 games, you're going to have games where you're getting 9, 10 blocks. And again, the averages was 3.8 last year in just 46 games. 176 blocks in 46 games is unreal as it is. He's going to have, in the rebounding race, again, he's grabbing 15, anywhere between 12 to 20 rebounds a night. And he's going to have games where he goes over 20, and he's going to have rare games. Like him going under 10 rebounds is going to be like terrible, which is unreal. He's going to keep scoring above 20 points. He's going to have, like I said, flirting with a triple-double on rebounds, blocks, and points. The NBA is not ready for a guy like him. I know me and DP were talking about it. I mean, it's the truest thing of what Ralph Sampson could have been and then some. Really incredible stuff. If you're not watching Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs, just check it out. It's alarming. It doesn't look real. I play NBA 2K. NBA 2K won't let me make a guy like Victor Wembanyama because even in the video game world, they say that's too unrealistic. Get real. You can't have a 7'4", 7'5", giant who's got the shooting range of a guard, the handles of a guard, but also, again, at 7'4" can rebound at will, and his wingspan's got to be, plus 4 inches on top of that. So probably like a 7'8", 7'9" wingspan. I don't care how athletic or big you are, you just can't stop a guy like that. So he's going to be just, again, if he's healthy, the Spurs are going to keep winning games. He's going to be, especially in these single season record races already. He's that good. And he's 21 years old. You got a 21-year-old Victor Wembanyama just shaking up the NBA. So there's your NBA update. Like I said, only 4 games. Spurs stay undefeated along with the OKC Thunder. Don't go anywhere. We'll keep it rolling. One more segment left right here. Late Nights in Lincoln.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
their age,
the way they speak. Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
Bonsall Pool & Spa's annual Spooktacular sale is here. Now through November 1st, get an extra $1,000 off hot tubs at an already low sale price and get $500 off the already low sale prices on infrared and traditional saunas. All hot tub water care products and accessories are also for sale for the Spooktacular sale, now through November 1st at Bonsall Pool and Spa at 33rd and Highway 2. Call for more info at 402-488-0148 or visit bonsallpool.com.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take, but it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Are you looking to upgrade your equipment and keep cash in your pocket? Through October at Landmark Implement, get up to a 24-month waiver on select John Deere tractors and combines, or lock in a 2.9% fixed rate for 36 months, followed by a qualified standard rate for another 36 months. Whether you're thinking of this year's harvest or planning ahead, we've got a solution that works for your bottom line. Visit your local Landmark Implement for more details or check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
Hi, Sean Callahan here, and I've got some great news for you. Koppel Chevrolet GMC is proud to be the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln metros. Koppel is also celebrating its 50th anniversary. We want to say thank you to all of our customers that have helped us reach these milestones. So come see why so many customers, including myself, are choosing Koppel Chevrolet GMC for their automotive needs. Please check us out at koppelcars.com.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids. First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse. Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
There's always a new experience to be had at Arbor Day Farm in Nebraska City. From events, adventures, wine tastings, or the Discovery Ride, you can never get tired of seeing what the property has to offer. Make a weekend out of it by staying at the Lead Lodge and enhance your stay with their special packages that include luxurious treatment. Learn more or book your adventure today online at arbordayfarm.org.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions. Back to Late Night in Lincoln live on 93.7 The Ticket. Here are your hosts, Harrison Arens and Derek Pearson.
All right, welcome back in. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. Last segment here, 402-464-5685. You guys want to get any last-second thoughts, comments in here? It's going to be about Husker football, Husker volleyball, Husker basketball, NFL, NBA. I don't care. It's your last segment. I'll read as long as I can read it, and the FCC doesn't hate it. I'll read what you guys send in before we get out here, if you choose to do so. With that being said, I'm just going to wrap up here, giving more updates. Just everything that's kind of happened over the week in Husker land here. As I mentioned, you do got Husker bowling. Those guys came off of their Orlando meet. They got 5th place in that one. They did start off the year in Youngstown. So Husker bowling, they got 2 meets under the belt. They win the first one in Youngstown to get 1st place. Last one didn't go as well. Really struggled on the first day. kind of picked it up on day 2. Wasn't enough, though, to quite get into that championship bracket. So they get the best they can. Those guys walk out with 5th place. They do get a bye. So they're off this weekend, and then they'll have another one down the road later. Obviously, with the Husker football, we talked about it plenty. They got USC this weekend, Friday. Blackout, wear black. If you're going to that one, it is official. I don't think I have to say that anymore. I think it's pretty well understood. They've really pushed it hard, and they've done a good job. I think if you're going to do this, you need to market it in a major way. And so far, the universities, I thought, done a really good job at doing that. Other things of note, wrestling has Navy coming up, but their first one is Army here at home. I want to give you the proper date on that one before we wrap up, because Husker wrestling this year, they're brewing. It'd be one to definitely check out. So like I said, Navy to start things off. But yes, at home, November 7th. So next week on Friday, if you want to take a peek at Husker wrestling and you haven't had the opportunity yet, that will certainly be the time to do so, as I mentioned, because they got a pretty good setup right there. And if you haven't been at home, again, I just recommend that you guys go check it out. It's pretty awesome. I know they were talking about it before, but they have integrated a tunnel walk. So there's a cool tunnel walk for the wrestlers as well. Now, really cool. They walk by the fans. Like, there's another element where if you haven't been to one, even just like 2 years ago, a lot's changed. It's a sweet event. So I encourage people to go check that one out. Obviously, Husker volleyball, they got a big one this weekend. Wisconsin on the road, and that is on Friday. They got Saturday off, but then Sunday they're back at home versus the Oregon Ducks. So you got Husker volleyball, one on the road versus Wisconsin on Friday, and then one at home, Oregon Ducks on Sunday. Husker football, obviously, Saturday night versus USC, blackout game. Should be an electric environment, and hopefully we can talk about a Husker win come the post-game show. So with that being said, that's going to wrap it up for me. I will get out of here. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, though. 6 a.m. early break. Steve Sipple and Jake Sorensen there, as always, to carry you through. Appreciate you guys listening. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night.
Are you looking to upgrade your equipment and keep cash in your pocket? Through October at Landmark Implement, get up to a 24-month waiver on select John Deere tractors and combines, or lock in a 2.9% fixed rate for 36 months, followed by a qualified standard rate for another 36 months. Whether you're thinking of this year's harvest or planning ahead, we've got a solution that works for your bottom line. Visit your local Landmark Implement for more details, or check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships, one with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
Attention all Wings fans. Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy.